And I will turn it over to our president, David Jones.
Thank you, Julian. I appreciate it. David Jones, President of Queen City Toastmasters. And first thing I want to show everybody's down the chat. It's the first item. It is an agenda for tonight. We're supposed to do an agenda every week. So now we put into the chat, and then we also have printed agendas here. We kind of fell out of some rules, but now we're getting back into our rules. And we are Queen City Toastmaster, the oldest Toastmaster in Charlotte. I just wanted to recognize a couple of board members. We have Ali, our VP of membership, is here in person. We have Natalie, our VP of public relations. We have Balut, who is our treasurer. Vanessa is our immediate past president. And who else we got? And Julian is our sergeant of arms. And I like to say that Vanessa, as president last year, got us through COVID-19. And this year, I'm trying to get off the COVID-19 to 20. Put on a few pounds. I want to start, we have a guest here tonight. Well, I wanted to welcome you. You want to say what your name is and how you heard about us?
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Johnson. I am actually a member of BPE of the Restore Toastmasters Club based in Maryland. David, I think I see the Baltimore Ravens logo on your hat. So very excited to be with you all today.
Perfect. Yeah, this is actually the I'm making me think. I'll think of it in a second. I know what it is, but no, it's not the Ravens.
Okay, looks like it.
It's the Golden Eagles. That's right, from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. There you go. All right, and then we also have a guest in person. So I'm sorry. Do you want to say? It's you now. Just wave so everybody can see. Yeah, introduce yourself and how you heard about us. Nice. Okay. Cool. If y'all couldn't hear her, she found us on Eventbrite. I didn't even know we were on Eventbrite, so I have to talk to you and find out how you got to that. But let me see. Let me go ahead and turn it over to our Toastmaster of the night, which is our immediate past president, Vanessa Walder. Vanessa, it's all you.
Thank you, David. Well, welcome everyone. It's great to see a full house, so to speak, on Zoom and a couple in person. So this was a tough theme for me. I was thinking about, we've got the Memorial Day weekend coming up. And, you know, for a lot of people, Memorial Day, sometimes we think of it as a nice long weekend to hang out and barbecue. But for a lot of people, it can be kind of a sad time because it's when people remember soldiers who have fallen on the battlefield, you know, these men and women who have served in the armed forces. And so it can be a time of mixed feelings depending on, you know, who, you know, maybe you have family members or friends who have served. But one thing that came to mind as I thought about it is when I think about these holidays like Memorial Day, I tend to just think about gratitude. You know, when I think about these sacrifices people have made, I think, well, that puts my problems into perspective. And it makes me grateful for all the things that I do enjoy in my life. And I thought, what better than an attitude of gratitude, as they say. It's cliche, but I loved how when the pandemic sort of got going about a year ago, I was watching the Mr. Rogers documentary. I don't know how many of you may have heard of that, but it's a really great, very feel-good documentary about the former TV host, Mr. Rogers, who did a long-running kids TV show. And after the 9/11 terrorist attack, he did a special program to help children understand what had happened. And he emphasized to look for the helpers. And I thought, you know, when I saw that, it was in the middle of COVID, there was a lot of uncertainty and so many people making tremendous sacrifices to help others. And I thought, wow, that's something to remember, especially when you're feeling maybe mixed feelings about sadness for people who have sacrificed so much. But to look for the helpers, it puts our problems into perspective, and it's helped me feel very grateful, even though sometimes things like COVID and all the chaos that ensued can feel a little bit downtroddening, if you will, but I love that attitude of gratitude. And to kick us off, I thought I'd open it up for the group. If anyone has gratitude they'd like to share to help us start the meeting, anyone's welcome to unmute, or if you're in person, we'd love to hear from you as well. Hey, Angelica.
Hey, Vanessa. So the other day I was listening a TED Talk about gratitude. This guy, he was very calm and it was very relaxing to hear him talking, but he basically was talking about when we get grateful about what we have, we become happy. But it is very difficult to always be happy. You never, it's always, I mean, in your life, you can have difficult situations where life doesn't look as happy as we would like to. And it's all about opportunities. It's all about finding, even in these difficult times, find a good opportunity or what we can take from that difficult time. And in that, when you start to see the life in that way, I think that you can change that attitude and makes you feel happy, grateful for what you have. And gratitude is always followed by happiness. So I thought it was very, very interesting to hear it because I don't always see it like that. But I thought it kind of match what you were saying with the subject of tonight. So I just wanted to share it with the group.
Yes, well, thank you. Yeah, and I love that, you know, sometimes it feels like you have nothing to be grateful for, but then once you do take time to think about it, it's like, oh, I actually am happier now. It makes you feel so much better. Yeah, I love that. Anyone else want to share thoughts?
I'll share.
Yes, Tiffany.
I'm going to share because I'm Tiffany Rowland, and I'm the oldest out of 7 brothers and sisters. And I get calls all the time with my brothers and sisters saying they're having trouble with their girlfriends, they're, you know, with school assignments. But yesterday, I got a call by a niece of mine, and she was struggling with some things. And I told her we need to think positive about it because we kept going on bringing up the negative that was going on, and it kept going on. So I just told her, like, we have to be positive, think positive. You're going to get through this, and be grateful that you have what you have now, to make a long story short. But just being grateful, and every day I wake up and I'm grateful that I'm here, I'm breathing, I made it through COVID. I have a beautiful family, I have a wonderful job, I coach, I train. I love to see people smiling, and I love to see people happy and succeeding. So just being grateful for what you have. I love the theme tonight that you guys are speaking about gratitude, because sometimes we do take things for granted just by waking up and being here. So that's what I have.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Yeah, I'm sure your family's so grateful to have such a supportive person to call on. That's really nice. And I feel like it's important to have those connections with people, especially when we've been socially distanced for quite a bit of time now. Sometimes it's great to have just a simple phone call, and that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our joke/inspiration master for the evening. And I believe that is Toastmaster Ali. And I think Ali is in person, not seeing him on Zoom. So I'll turn it back over to the in-person world. Ali, take it away.
Hello. Hello, real people. Hello, Zoom people. Okay, gratitude. And I know tonight's meeting is about being thankful. So I just want to tell a little story. It kind of like changed me. I started participating in this group. It's called Doing My Part. You can find it on Meetup. And essentially, like every 2 weeks, what they do is like a bunch of people come out and they just bring like stuff like it's for the homeless. So like food, stuff they need, like gloves, clothes, and it like literally they have so much stuff at the end. It's like it's still stuff left over, and they all just and they walk around uptown every other Sunday from like 3:30 to 5 o'clock, and they just go hand stuff out. And then so the reason why I started doing that because like sometimes I get caught up in like the sky. And I have to level head myself down sometimes. Sometimes I forget about the people down here or the people that's not like the people that are like I think that's not doing as well. That I had to figure out a way to like keep myself level headed. And so that's what I did. And I'm thankful for that because it helps me a lot. And so I have a reason, and I have a reason behind everything I do. So I used to kind of like want to like do stuff for myself, like, oh, I want this because this is me. And it's changed me because like now everything I do now is just for other people. I think when you get to the point of your life where you start living for others besides yourself, that's when you actually figure out what your true meaning is. That's what I'm grateful for. Thank you guys.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much, Ollie. I love that, living for others instead of just yourself. That's a good thing. Sometimes I'm so wrapped up in my day-to-day work that I forget about that, but I love that idea. All right, well, our next Toastmaster who will be helping us out tonight is our grammarian, and that is none other than Avinash. So Avinash, I'll turn it over to you to help us keep track of our filler words and other grammatical issues.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Greeting fellow Toastmasters and respected guests. I'll take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Avinash Singh, and I'm going to be the grammarian for today's meeting. As a grammarian, I will be paying close attention to the speeches, and I will be counting the filler words like so, like, but. So as a grammarian, I'll also share the word of the day. So today, word of the day is going to be agog, A-G-O-G, which means eager, very excited to see or hear anything. An example of the word would be like, I'm all agog to see how this word is used in today's meeting. That's an example of using the word agog. So I would encourage all the speakers to use the word during the meeting. At some point in the meeting, I would also be called upon to give the grammarian report, wherein I will explain about each user, what filler words are used. I'll present my report at the end. That's all. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Avinash. I'll try to work in the word agog into my speaking tonight. And next, we have a very important role who will help us keep track of time so we don't ramble on for too long. And that is our timer. So I will turn it over to Jimmy Cruz.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Greetings, everyone, and fellow Toastmasters. My name is Jimmy Cruz, and I'm going to be your timer for today. My role today is going to be in relation to keeping everyone on a time slot to where we're looking for speeches to be 5 to 7 minutes, table topics to be 1 to 2 minutes, evaluations to be 2 to 3 minutes, and icebreakers at 4 to 6 minutes. Based on these times, everyone will have a 30-second grace period in between those sections where I will change the background that I have. And if you're on pace, if we were doing the speech, 5 minutes would be green, meaning that you will be on par. So that would be 4 minutes and 30 seconds to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. If it goes to 6 minutes, it would go yellow. The same 30-second grace period on both sides. And then if we get to 7 minutes, it would actually turn red, saying grace period. At that stage, you would qualify if you fell within that grace period. Thank you very much. And I will try to do my best today, as this is my first time. So please don't get too upset if I arrange it wrong, but I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Excellent job explaining all of the types of cutoffs for the speeches. And I love your Zoom background. It makes it really easy for everyone to see. So I appreciate that. All right, at this point, we are ready to get into our speakers. And our very first speech tonight will be an icebreaker, which is the first speech that any new member gives when they first join Toastmasters. So I'm so excited to introduce Sean, who will be giving his icebreaker. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. All right, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honorable guests. I really appreciate for this opportunity tonight to do my icebreaker. I'm all agog to share with you about my topic tonight, which is goal setting. First of all, I would like to start with a question for you. By a show of hands, how many of you actually had a New Year's resolution and you already gave up on them by now? Okay, it looks like 50%. You guys did pretty well. I was expecting something like high 90s and 100%, which I actually had a few of my goals set for the New Year's, and I already gave up on most of them, but one is still alive, which is try to become better at public speaking in 2021. So I probably didn't mention this to you before. I'm a process engineer working for a manufacturing company, and I'm a few years into my current career now. And some of you might wonder, why is this guy here? It's probably too late for you to become a professional comedian like David Jones. And the truth is that I didn't want to be here initially, and I just want to stay in my comfort zone and continue to learn about new engineering concepts and continue to do engineering projects and continue to improve my career that way. But until one day, when I was listening to a podcast talking about career development, and I was really struck by an idea that your technical work is absolutely meaningless if you can't explain it in simple terms to people who have no idea about what you're working on. Which, wow, it was like a light bulb going off for me. And I started to reflect on some of my past presentations and imagine you're sitting in the room with a bunch of upper level management, and they control the budgets on how much you can spend on your project. And they didn't really pay attention to your work until coming to this meeting. And like, they really have no idea, and you're trying to convince them to give me money. And I think I thought I did okay initially, maybe when I reflect on some of my past presentations. But when I judge by a different standard, I feel like, oh, I really failed to communicate the gist sometimes. Part of that was probably because I was too nervous, and I probably spoke too fast, way too fast, and blurred through some of the key details, just assuming everybody knew it. But if I really paid attention to the audience response, and I probably could have noticed some of the problems right on the spot. So in hindsight, I try to just reflect, and probably I feel like I do have a lot to improve my public speaking. That's why I start trying to work towards my goal. And I try to follow a template called SMART technique. As some of you might already heard it before. It's an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So in my case, specific meaning I have a goal, like trying to be better at public speaking for 2021. And it's definitely achievable, right? So then the measurable and relevant actions become how many books I read about public speaking and how many TED Talks I watched. And then like how much I learned from those and how well I apply those skills in my actual presentations. And last but not least is the time component, which I really think this is the most critical part of this SMART technique, which is like, we all agree that caffeine probably had the most impact on our day-to-day activity. But I'm also of the belief that setting a deadline can provide the same boost. That's why I told David, hey, just sign me up for today's icebreaker. I'll let you know if I'm not ready. I guess I just did it. So I truly believe I was never going to be ready if I didn't push myself for it. So with the help of, hopefully with the help of everybody here, and I can achieve my goal for 2021. And if not, I'll still be okay with 2022. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Sean. Excellent job. And I can confirm you were more than ready to give an icebreaker. That was excellent. And I think if you're a process engineer, I'm not an engineer myself, but it sounds like you've got lots of skills that could be applied to structuring a speech or organizing a speech as well. So I'm very confident you'll be an excellent Toastmaster. You already are. So thank you again for sharing your icebreaker with us. Well, we have one more awesome speech lined up, and our next speaker is also someone who has represented Queen City Toastmasters at the division level of the contests that Toastmasters hosts. And Balut is our next speaker. He will be giving a speech entitled Stepping into the River Twice. So I'm agog to hear about what this metaphor relates to. So without further ado, let's welcome Balut.
Thank you. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and for he's not the same man. I'm going to repeat that. No man steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same man, or for it's not the same river. This is a quote from Heraclitus. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. My name is Türker Bulut, and I'm here to talk about change. I'm sharing this quote with you today to highlight how the only constant in our lives is the change itself. This quote perfectly summarizes and puts that in a metaphor for us. Change can take many different shapes and forms. It can be positive or it can be negative. It can be helpful or unhelpful. It can be planned or unexpected. It can be personal. It can be organizational. It could be societal. It is everywhere. As I have spent more time reflecting on the nature of change, I realized that there are 3 beliefs that have made a difference in my view of change. The first one is that resisting change is normal. Everybody tells you that don't resist change, lean into it. And wait, I'm about to tell you the same thing, but I do want everyone on this call, in this meeting, to recognize that resisting change is normal. It is against human nature to want change, to seek change. We're comfortable where we are. Change means uncertainty. Change means unknown. And in our survival brain, that is not what we seek. So our natural reaction is to resist it. And that's normal. It just affirms that we're human. Once you accept that, you can move into belief number 2, which is your mindset about change determines whether change can help you or harm you. And that goes for any type of change, good, bad, positive, negative, personal, organizational, whatever it may be. If it's helpful, we welcome it. And with resistance, it's like jumping into a pool. You feel it's cold at first, but once you get used to it, you start inviting others to come and jump in with you and play. But sometimes it's not that helpful or fun. And in that case, your mindset makes the difference. You can say, oh no, this is terrible. I don't want this. This is not good for me at all. I want to avoid it. Or you can say, good. This is an opportunity for me to deal with this. And through it, I'm going to learn and grow. It can benefit me. That could mean you get fired from your job. That's an opportunity for you to look inside and see what else is out there. And third, like I said, it builds on number 1 and 2, and I'm going to tell you what everyone does, but everyone jumps to this. That mindset, once you accept that resisting is normal and that your mindset can make the difference, when you put the 2 together, the third one is we must embrace change. It's like a wave. It's coming. You know it's always there. It's going to come. You can either choose to not do anything and be crushed by the waves, or you can learn how to surf it and have fun. So that's all individual change and being on the receiving end of change. I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about leadership and initiating change and how to manage that well. It starts with recognizing these 3 beliefs for yourself and seeing how they're true for everyone. Everybody resists change. Everybody's mindset can make the difference, and everybody must embrace change or suffer its consequences. So with that in mind, the first thing you want to do is recognize the context in which you're about to introduce change and know your why very, very clearly. Number 2 is identify the people that this change is going to affect. And it's going to affect multiple people in organizations and society, and understand from their point of view how this change is going to impact them. Number 3, prepare for that resistance. You know it's going to be there. You know that there are going to be reasons. Understand them, solve for them, adapt your change strategy to minimize that resistance. 4 is create a communication plan. Don't assume that everybody's going to buy into it just because you're introducing some change. Create a communication plan. Put the things that would make people resist the change out in the open and talk about them. And number 5 is walk the walk. The number 1 key in making change lasting and real is seeing leaders live and breathe the change they want to introduce. And number 6, measure. See if that actually sticks. Have some metrics in place. So that's a 6-step formula. I was going to share a personal anecdote. I'm running out of time. That's for another speech. That's for another time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Balud. That was what I needed to hear. I've been thinking about some changes in my own career that I've been a little nervous about, and I love your analogy of surfing the wave instead of letting it crush you. So I'm going to be thinking about that over the next few weeks for sure. Thank you so much. All right, at this point, I will turn it over to our timer to give us a timer's report on our 2 speeches. So Jimmy, I will let you just review our speeches and then we can go ahead and fill out our ballots.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I may have been a little bit early on Balut, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'll give you the rundown on that once we get to his. I wanted to start with Sean's first, and I thought it was an excellent speech. He ended up at 5 minutes and 3 seconds. And again, very intriguing, very nice way to put all the words together to understand where we needed to see him and his perception of his job and relaying his job title to get the agenda accomplished from everybody else's perception. With Balut was right at 6:46. He was actually under, and I started at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So I wasn't exactly sure if it was supposed to be right at that 7-minute mark, but I started at the 6:30 mark based on that. And he did an excellent job overall explaining all the steps. It was very intriguing, and I almost didn't want to watch the timer anymore because the path that he was going with understanding change, it was just perfectly said. So I apologize if I messed that aspect up. It was supposed to be at the 7-minute mark. But overall, great job, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Great to know both our speakers qualified. And you'll notice there's an electronic ballot for those of us on Zoom that you're welcome to fill out to choose your favorite speech of the night. And this now marks the point in the meeting where we get to transition to table topics, which is a chance to practice our impromptu speaking. So for that, I will turn it over to our table topics master, Toastmaster Amber.
Hi, good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I am Amber Denise, and I will be your table topics masters for tonight, which is a very crucial element of Toastmasters because it allows us to think on our feet and improve on our improvisation skills. And I am agog that the topic is gratitude, as well as Vanessa, I really like how you brought up Memorial Day. I was in the Army, a lot of you guys know, I was active duty, and I was a mortuary affairs officer in the Army, which I have lost plenty of soldiers in my unit. And, you know, it made me really grateful for life. I think I didn't appreciate life until after, you know, some of those things happened to my soldiers. So I approached life in a different way, and I'm just really grateful for life. And so with that being said, I'm going to ask a few questions, and hopefully some of you guys will answer them. All right, so do we have any volunteers for my first question?
I was just going to add, guests are also more than welcome to participate in table topics. I'm sorry, I meant to mention that earlier, but any of our guests are welcome to try out the table topics.
Come on, any volunteers?
Amber, I can get us started if we just need someone to be the icebreaker for table topics.
Okay, great. So who are you most grateful for in your life?
Madam Table Topics Master, that's a really hard question because I don't know that I could pick just one person that I am most grateful for. I think I could narrow it down to my two parents, though, because I think that they have had the biggest impact on my life. My mom and my dad have always been incredibly supportive, and we've always had a loving family. I really credit them too for helping my sister and I get along. There was a time when we were a little bit younger when we were constantly bickering and getting on each other's nerves, and my parents were the ones who sort of taught us how to get along, and they set a high standard for how they expected us to behave. And because of that, my relationship with my sister is really wonderful. We're like so close now. And I'm so grateful for them setting that expectation when I was young. I'm also just so incredibly grateful for all the support they've provided as I've gotten older, especially when I was in graduate school, I would sometimes be calling them late at night because I wanted to talk to them about some academic question that I had, and they're both really smart, so I could trust their judgment, but I would be taking a lot of their time sometimes, and they would always be patient with me. They would come up with creative things that I could think about to move me forward. So I'm so grateful for them. And that's just a couple reasons why. I could go on, but because it's table topics, I'll turn it back over to you so we can not spend too much time on that, but very grateful for both of them.
Awesome. You know, my mother tried to do the same thing with me and my brother, and to this day we still bicker a lot. Love them to death though. All right, so next question. Any volunteers? Okay, David. All right,
Actually,
so what is...
No, wait, I have a guest here that's going to give it a try.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what's your name again? Okay, you can tell them your name and then watch Amber. She's going to ask you a question, and then watch the timer for the green light, which is going to be Jimmy. There he is. All right.
Hey, my name is Chidima. So I'll be speaking for the table topic today.
Hi, Shadima. So what is something that made you smile today?
Something that made me smile today?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, something that made me smile today was the fact that I forgot my wallet at home. So because I forgot my wallet at home while rushing to get my kids to work, I had to literally drive 30 minutes back home. But within that drive, I was actually able to get home and really start my day versus starting it at 6:30 in the morning. So because I had to turn around and start, basically it was a restart for my day. So I was able to make coffee, catch up on some reading, do some dishes, and it just gave me motivation to just come home. And when I do go home, it'll just be a more nicer, cleaner house to go into. So forgetting my wallet was probably the best thing that I did today. And even though it can be sometimes, even though sometimes it can be a worst case scenario, sometimes worst case scenarios end up being the best case scenario.
Awesome. That was great. She's right. Definitely right about that. So do we have time for another question?
Yes, we have time for a couple more.
Yeah, and actually we have another guest here in person if you'd like to ask a question to Benita. Is that how you put it? Benita's here.
Hi, Benita.
Hi, my name is Vanita Thompson. I found out through Eventbrite, actually. I was looking, I'm new to the Charlotte area, and I was looking to get into something, and I am familiar with the Toastmasters brand, but I've never attended one, so this is my first one.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask you a question. What is something that never fails to make you happy?
The one thing that never fails to make me happy is my son. He's amazing, and I am so grateful to be his mom. He's smart and talented and focused, and as much as I try to make him a mama's boy, he just refuses. He's focused on being his own man and creating his own path, following his own dreams. He told me, he's full of wisdom. He told me once, there's no plan B. That was just awesome to me. No plan B. I make a decision, I move forward in that spirit, and there's no plan B. So that is the person that makes me the most happy.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm not a mother yet, but I am a mother to a dog, and he does make me happy. So I understand that. Definitely understand that. And do we have time for one more question, or do we move on?
Yes, we have time for one more.
Okay. Any volunteers?
I'll go.
Okay, so what is something that you love most about your country?
Thank you for that question, Madam Topics Master. So something that I love about my country is just the autonomy that we have to move between states and the autonomy that we have to create our lives. I was born in New York and was raised in Connecticut. And when I was in high school, I said I wanted to work in television. And after I finished undergrad, I worked in TV for a couple of years. And then I said, you know what, I want to try something different. And so then I went back to school to obtain my master's, relocated to Maryland, and worked in higher education for about 8 years. And then I decided I want to try something different. And so now I'm working in recruiting. And I enjoy the flexibility that we have in this country to try new things, to experience new things. I think right now with the pandemic, it really forces us to really reevaluate our lives. And more of my friends are deciding to relocate, to try to live into a different city because we can, and we have that flexibility to do so. And so that is something that I do appreciate about this country.
Awesome, awesome. You know what, I'll say that you're right about the relocation, because I know a lot of people that are actually moving, and then me in 2 months, I'm moving into LA. So definitely right about the autonomy of the US and just the relocating as well. And I will hand it back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amber. Excellent table topics questions. At this point, I will turn it over to our timer once again to go through our table topic speakers. And Jimmy, I don't know if, I think I had trouble hearing some of the names who were in person. I think I caught at least one of them, but I think David's on the other end of the line, so to speak. So feel free to ask if you need help on anything.
Yes, appreciate that, Madam Toastmaster. Yes, David, I had a question about one, and I'll start with you first, Madam Toastmaster. So you qualified at a time of 1 minute and 47 seconds. That was a great job with that. I just love the actual speech. It was good. With talking about your parents, and that's amazing. The next person, I'm sorry, I did not get the name on that one. I'm sorry, David. If you can tell me.
Chidima.
Chidima.
Yeah, Chidima.
Chidima did very well. She came in at 58 seconds, right before the end of I guess it's right before the green light. And that was a great job with that as well. I love the topic in regards to leaving the wallet at home. It just gave her some additional time. So she qualifies as well. Vanita, did I say that correctly? She came in also at 58 seconds. Did a great job with that as well. I love the fact that she talked about her son, and which gave her a lot of power. I was actually, as of course I am a son of a mother as well, I was agog just to hear that, because my mother says the same about me as well. And Jessica qualified as well with a time of 1 minute and 4 seconds. And I just thought her speech was great as well. So thank you for everybody participating on the table topics. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. All right, that concludes our table topics segment. And now we get to move into the evaluation section of our meeting. And to start that off, we have a general evaluator who sort of guides us through the evaluations and gives an overall evaluation as well. And tonight, that is Toastmaster Turk. Great to see you, Turk, and I'll turn it over to you.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, I have the privilege of being your general evaluator. This is just a fancy name for the guy who introduces the real big shots. And so I had the privilege and duty to introduce our real evaluators, and then I'll just give my swing on how the things are. Angelica has the tough job today, because icebreakers, by their definition, are icebreakers. They're the first one. So what can you do after you take the first step? So I'm looking forward to hearing what Angelica is going to feedback she's going to give to Sean. With that, please help me welcome Angelica Ritter, who's going to be our first evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. And I have to say, I agree with you, but I think that my job today is easier because Sean make a really, really a good speech. So I was very agog to hear Sean because this is the first time that I hear him talking. He's a new member of the club. So I was very curious and eager to hear him. Sean, great job. I think that I identify with why you're doing this because I am in the same boat that you are. I feel like I have to keep growing in my career. I need to improve my communication skills. So I admire you that you're putting this as your goal and making it happen, and that's why you are here. I think that it is hard for me to set up the New Year resolution because I feel like when I do that, I just have, for some reason, I have just to wait until next year to put my next goal. So I try to do it every day. But this is great that you are working on your New Year resolution. I think that these help you to make a really great introduction to your speech. I also thought that it was smart and fun that you make kind of a funny remark about and relate this with David Jones, for example. So in this way, you start to kind of involve all of us. You were asking a question about it, so you were already interacting with us, which I think that was a great beginning of your speech. In general, your presentation was really clear. I get an introduction. They have the main body and a conclusion. I think that you got great gestures. You were talking with your hands. You were, as I said, clear. You were looking at us. You stand up and make your voice louder. We could hear you really well. And you feel prepared, which it makes us feel, I think that gives you some comfort zone in your speech, which I feel it and I see it. There were clear transitions between all the different stages of your speech. Now, what I will tell you that could be achievable for next time. I think that you are doing great. I think that when you explain this, when you give us this example about you being with the clients and that you didn't feel that you were not so successful, I think that maybe the only thing that you may miss, I don't think that it wasn't your speech, maybe it's have a more vocal variety, more very strong when you're talking. Maybe it's a personal style, which I have a lot of trouble to find what is my personal style when I'm talking. I feel that sometimes when I see some of the speakers, they make their speech it's special because I feel kind of their personality. So, and it is hard because I am struggling with this, but maybe it's that. Maybe it's find this kind of show your personality and use more your vocal variety because I know it's very clear that you have it. So in general, it was great. So at 3 points of conclusion, it was a nice introduction. Keep engaging the people that are listening to you, making fun of these remarks. That was great. Great verbal presentation, very organized. easy to follow. And as I said, maybe just try to find a verse and I'm sorry, a style, a personal style, or vocal variety. But that's all. Thank you. I really enjoyed your speech. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Angelica. That was very insightful, really helpful. I'm sure Sean appreciates it. Let me switch this to gallery view so I can find Sean on the screen. I really enjoyed your icebreaker. The purpose of icebreaker is for us to get to know you. So I want to tell you, this is a new journey you're embarking. And I love hearing when somebody says, oh, I had an epiphany of understanding communication is so important, as much as important as what I know. And the reason of that is no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So once you understand that as a communicator, which you understood, now this is an entirely different journey. So that's thought number one. Second one, there are two types of martial arts schools. The one that cranks out the black belt as quickly as you can. So for people can say, oh, my son, my daughter has a black belt. And then there are true masters who actually teaches the martial art. Now you get to choose at which path you wish to go. But if your desire is to truly understand the art of storytelling, now I want to challenge you to be present on the speeches rather than just cranking them out and really show up. So it's easy to regurgitate positive sounding words and we'll clap you because that's our role. But if you want this to be your own dojo where you finish it, that you're a true master, you're in a good club. I want you to be present and I want you to really be vulnerable. You're learning new skills anyway. So those two things, what you bring as an oral storyteller, it'll bring your game and you'll be able to get bigger contracts because you'll be able to actually communicate to those guys with big, deep pockets. You're in the right company. I'm really looking forward to your next speech. All right, so that was all. We're wrapping up on Sean. Our next evaluator is Natalie. Natalie is going to evaluate Bulut. Now, in his case, one of the reasons for the guests, we always put the icebreaker first, not to intimidate Sean with a skilled storyteller like Bulut. And so now you're understanding when Natalie's actually evaluating, I'm sure it's going to sound slightly different. And with that, please help me welcome our number two, but not really number two, but second evaluator, Natalie. Put your hands together. Let us see your support.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I appreciate that warm welcome and introduction this evening. When Bulut took the stage, I knew from the light adjustment he was bringing his full A game. I expect no less and was agog to listen to him speak. He immediately began with hand gestures, which I thought was a great use of nonverbals to emphasize his point, and he used them consistently throughout. He also stood, really taking ownership of the space and the stage and the audience, which I thought was strong, leading into the repetition of his quote, which is a powerful quote and one of my favorite quotes as well, personally. And then he layered in the greeting, which is an advanced way to greet versus starting up front with hello, Toastmasters and fellow guests, but he sandwiched that in and then continued very seamlessly into his speech. Then he let us know he was going to be telling us about the way that change occurs, the beliefs that are set up around change, and he walked us through the three. And I appreciated you mentioned resisting change, but you let us know that although that's something that is often, you're told what you resist persists, right? It's quite normal. So feel it and then move on, get in the right mindset. I thought when you shared with us about mindset, you could have added a little bit of vocal variety and some sound effects. So you did like, I think you said splash or jump, like jumping in the pool noise. So there could have been like a sound effect to go along with that, just to add a little bit of a dynamic nature. Then the power of storytelling. That's something that I've really been focusing on recently. And it's an opportunity to connect. So taking us through the steps, and I know you mentioned towards the end, you were going to share a story with us, but I think to take this speech up a level, you could incorporate the story into the steps, and you could be telling us about yourself as you communicate the 6 steps that you walked us through and incorporate them in the storyline. I think at the end, when we ran out of time, as a former dancer, one of the things they always used to tell us was, the audience doesn't know what you're doing. So if you mess up on stage, you don't have to say oops or give it away with like a verbal cue. They're not in your rehearsal. We don't know your speech. So you're always in control. You don't have to show us your cards. I know you said time's up and I was going to share XYZ and the ending was a bit abrupt. So I think you can have maybe alternate endings in case you run out of time and have a quick, impactful punch at the end. But I thought overall, great speech, great tips, and I love the topic of change. Thank you, Balut.
Thank you, Natalie. That was really good. Sorry, I was just helping. May I have the timer's report, please? And please be ready to vote for best evaluator, who you thought, not who you like best, but who you thought given the best evaluation. And so this will be helpful for them. David, is that you who's putting those up?
Thank you.
Jimmy, yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Turk, General Evaluator. I apologize, Angelica. I had yours incorrect. I had my notes messed up, so I apologize. I didn't have your note. I didn't have the actual green light rolling the way I should. I had the times messed up. So you were actually over. I apologize. You didn't qualify, but I'll take the onus on that. You were at 4 minutes and 56 seconds. The evaluations are supposed to be 2 to 3 minutes. So I apologize on that. Please forgive me. It's my first day. But you also did a great job. You did a great job expressing yourself and just looking for all the cues that we all saw, and you did a great job evaluating. Natalia did it. She did qualify at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And I thought that she gave outstanding examples. So she qualified as well. So thank you to both evaluators. Thank you. Thank you, Tarek, also.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. And that pop-up window should come up momentarily. All right, so
since Angelica didn't qualify, there's only one person.
All right, that's true. Yeah, good man. All right, so what I thought about the meeting, I'm gonna give a little bit of information, and also I wanted to, since I'm an OG, meaning older than Google, I've been around the block a few times, so I want to use this as far as shaping the young ones that are coming and volunteering for the job. So this is not a personal, oh, Turk is pooping on me. This is about the position that you're holding. So nothing personal here, and the intention is always for upliftment. We started in a timely manner. I thought that was really good. And for, Queen City Toastmasters, this is working out really good. We're usually we used to be pretty laid back and late. So I'm liking this. I'm curious to see if members were lazy like me and kind of looking for other options and then show up. And what I mean by that is if we at least do one of the meetings, not Zoom and in person, to get us off our lazy butts and actually show up there. And because then we can really maximize the Toastmasters now that we're all chipped in. I mean, we're all second vaccinated. All right, Bulut was a speaker. It is a good etiquette to show up at least 15 minutes on the meetings that are your speaker. So the Toastmasters don't freak out. It's like, is he gonna show up? Is he not gonna show up? And this kind of really throws a monkey wrench on the Toastmaster. And when you're a Toastmaster, you do appreciate always the speakers who show up and say, hey, who's going to be evaluating and actually being able to communicate with each other. I don't know if you've communicated with your evaluators, but that makes evaluators' job much easier. Madam Toastmasters, experienced Toastmaster. I love changing the names. This was really great idea to put, I'm a timer, I'm an evaluator too. It makes life so much easier to find each other on the screen. So whoever started doing that, thank you so much. I like what you were doing, timer. That was fantastic, doing the best for the first day in the job. Well done, everybody went great. One thing, for me, this is an organizational thing for our culture. But when the purpose of the table topics is for the table topics master to get an opportunity for each person to have a chance to speak. For example, this way, if everybody is here, we're done, Carol hasn't had an opportunity, or Elvis showed up later. And so usually table topics, especially when we have these names, instead of looking for volunteers, it's so much easier to set it up and say, hey, this is what I was thinking, since this is what's going on. And what are you most grateful for, Carol? And now Carol, since we can look at her name and doesn't have something, that we can actually see her. And that's actually makes even better when we're in person, when you don't know, oh, don't call me, don't call me. And then you get called. The purpose of table topics is 1, for everyone gets to speak. 2 is to practice being in an awkward position. And so you're hanging out, someone turns around and says, can you shoot the breeze for about 2 minutes and scoot out of there, pretend that you've seen someone. So make the game of this. This is always fun. And I thought my evaluators did fantastic. I really enjoy Angelica's adding personal stuff. Natalie's specific notes, like specific notice that you can tell that she was actually intending to give a really good feedback. Both of you did fantastic. I think that's it for me. I am your general evaluator. I'm going to switch to decaf sometime soon. With this, may I turn to Toastmaster Vanessa Will.
Thank you so much, Turk. Excellent general evaluation. Thank you so much for all your tips and tricks. And Turk's been a very experienced Toastmaster for years, and he's done a TED Talk. So it's always wonderful when we get Turk on as our general evaluator to give us some words of wisdom, good reminders too. And before we close the meeting, I did want to turn it over to our grammarian, who can give us a report on how we did in terms of filler words. So Avinash, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. I'm glad to, I'm playing the part of grammarian so that I get to comment on everybody, but nobody is going to comment on my speech. So I'll start with David. David, you used 5 times and 4 times. Turk, you used a lot of times. At one point I stopped counting. You used so 8 times. Angelica, you used a lot of and ums. 3 times you used so. And you used 4 times and. And glad that you used the word ago. Natalia, you used the word of the day. Most part of your speech was clean, but I think you tend to use a lot of and in your speeches. Vanessa, you used word of the day. So thanks for that. 5 times you used 6 times you used so, 3 times and you used lots of and but. Tiffany, you used 3 times and 1 time so, and 1 times Ali, you used lots of like and lots of and. Sadima, you used 2 times and 4 times so. Banita, you used 4 times and. Julian, and 3 times and 4 times so. Amber, thanks for using word of the day today. You used 7 times so and 2 times and. Balut, congratulations. I was trying to see if you will give me something to count, but I'm sorry, you did not give me anything, I could score. So great speech. It was flawless. Jessica, you used lots of and. Jimmy, thanks for using word of the day today. Most part of your speech until last speech, your speech was very clean. You did not give me any chance to, point anything. But I guess because of timing, timer issue or anything, at the last speech, you gave me 3 ah and ums. Sean, thanks for using word of the day. You used 3 times ah and 5 times so, and lots of and. I guess that's about all the speeches. Thanks to you, Madam Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Avinash. Excellent job. Very thorough. That's good. That's what we need. So thank you for serving as our grammarian this evening. And to close out the meeting, we usually will announce and celebrate our favorite speakers and table topics and evaluators. And David, I do have some snazzy Zoom backgrounds that I can try out. Otherwise, I'll also let you do it if you have a better ribbon ceremony lined up. So I can turn it over to you.
All right, we'll try. We'll do them both just to see how it works out. All right, so tonight our favorite table topics person goes to our guest Jessica. So congratulations, Jessica. If you were here in person, I would give you a nice little ribbon, and Vanessa has the same one. And then for our best evaluator by default, but it went to Natalie, so best evaluator. Okay. But Angelica was best too. You're both best. And then for our best speaker or favorite speaker, we'll actually have 2 winners. Our favorite speaker went to Balut, so he's got the best speaker. And then, of course, our favorite icebreaker goes to Sean, so congratulations to all of them. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. And thank you everyone for participating. I know we're a few minutes over, but thank you for being with us. And excellent job again to our 2 speakers tonight, Sean and Bulut. Great to have you both. I feel inspired now with some words of wisdom from everyone. Thank you, and I'm grateful for the meeting. And I think that's about everything. Do we have any announcements, David? I think I was going to just say hello to one of our guests who I don't think I met earlier. Carol, welcome. I'm sorry we maybe didn't get to officially say hello to you, but welcome to Toastmasters. Did you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Yeah, this was wonderful. I enjoyed everyone's speeches. I liked all of the feedback, interacting with everyone's personalities, backgrounds, and topics. My favorite, of course, was about change. 2020 and 2021 have brought great waves of change, but within those changes are remarkable opportunities. So thank you for having me as your guest. I enjoyed each one of you today.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. All right. Well, David, did you have any other announcements? I know we have a meeting after this for board members. Anything else?
Well, next week, Elvis is going to be our Toastmaster. I don't know if he's picked a theme yet, but I will be giving a speech. I don't know if you looked at it, but it's blocked. It's a requirement. It's a 20-minute speech. It's going to be about becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. So hopefully, it's supposed to be humorous. So hopefully it'll be fun and not a boring speech. But that's really it, unless...
yeah, it sounds really hilarious.
And I guess some of our guests, if I can get some feedback, let's see. Who else do we have on there? Jessica, what did you think about the meeting tonight? Feedback from you?
Good afternoon, everyone. I truly enjoyed today's meeting. I thoroughly enjoyed both speeches today, as well as the detailed evaluations that we're giving to them. Just thank you both. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to join you all today.
Perfect. And of course, Eric. Eric, any feedback from you from tonight's meeting? Tell everybody who you are. Not everybody knows who you are. We had a lot of guests.
All right. Hi, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Eric Schneider. I am the club president of the AM Lockport Toastmasters chapter in upstate New York. And I've been a frequent member. I should be getting frequent flyer miles here. But I've been a guest for Quinn City for about over a year now. So it's great to see some wonderful and inspiring people and listening to all the great stories and speeches. So it's always fun to come and observe and listen and having a good time. So tonight's meeting was overall fantastic. The icebreaker speech was fantastic. Good job, Sean. And Blue, always wonderful speeches, good evaluations, and overall great atmosphere. So thank you guys so much for a wonderful meeting tonight. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Eric. All right, we have two guests here, but I'm going to talk to them both after the meeting because we are way behind. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to an end and then take 5 minutes with them, and then we'll start the board meeting. So thanks everybody for coming, especially our guests.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.